have that instinct automatically? Because remember, some of this stuff is genetic. They either have it or they don't, right? This is what it's all about, people. Attack the boy! He must know that I'm in the dog fight with him. I'm next to him side by side. We have a bond that's unbreakable.
Listen, you can't beat that shit.
That was nice.
You can't beat that. No, we're gonna wait till some people come in. Oh man, so what's the weather like?
It was muted on my end. I had to unmute it.
Yeah.
I guess it automatically mutes.
It automatically mutes. I can't even say anything either.
Oh, okay.
So what? What's the weather like?
It felt like 80 today.
Wow. And then tomorrow,
Yeah, it's
and then
been like that most of the week.
Tornado weather.
But we were in the 80s on Christmas, mid 80s. So
how far are you from Chicagoland?
Fine. It's 25, 30 minutes, depending on time of day.
Yeah, my uncle stays in well, before he passed away, he must have owned like 20, 30 homes. But he stayed in Atascocita. Yeah, Atascocita.
Yeah, that's 15 minutes from me. 20 at the most.
Still can't believe it's gone. It's been gone almost 2 years now. Wow.
The place where we train is in, oh gosh, now I can't say it, but it's in Huffman, Texas. And that's, if you keep going up the street, it's past Humble, past Atascocita, and then it's out a little further, past Lake Houston.
Okay. Let me get some more people coming in. Yeah, so now we're live on Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Let me see what else. Damn, we live on everything, man. Everything. And then after that, it's gonna stay recorded on YouTube. So now you can go to the link. You can send it to all your girls and your guys. Like, here's me, girl. Oh my God, I'm telling you.
I was talking to someone earlier, and I told him, "Hey, I'm just gonna wait until he posts the snippets, however his social media guy or whoever's doing it. I didn't know if you do that or if he does it, but I said he's gonna block it out and pick out the best parts and post them up in 1 minute. And I said, I'll send you those.
Yeah. Now, so once we get through doing the recording, then the AI part of StreamYard actually creates reels.
Okay.
You see yourself on the YouTube?
I can.
Say
it's delayed. We're delayed.
Yes, we're live. The stream is delayed.
Yeah. Okay.
See? Say hi.
Hi.
All right, people, listen, I want to say thanks for tuning in on this Wednesday. God, this feels weird today, man. Wednesday. Feels like Thursday. I don't know.
Oh, it is delayed.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is delayed, right?
Quite a bit.
Yeah. And I want to say this is the second person that I've interviewed. You're a first-time Dobe owner, right?
Yes. Other than childhood, my dad owned 4 of them.
Right. First time
myself, this first time.
As an adult.
Yes.
Yeah. Now the Dobes back then when we grew up are different from the Dobes today.
Yes, they are. I didn't even want to go in the backyard back then.
Yes, correct. Now you can go in the backyard and play ball with them and everything else is like, wait a minute. Back in the day, you couldn't even step foot on the yard without them acting the fool.
Yeah.
So I want to say thanks, Ro, for coming in, and Roshanda.
Thanks for having me.
And this was a delightful because I rarely see women. Well, I do see women with Dobermans, but typically the women I see with Dobermans are breeders.
Okay.
Right? They have 4, 5, 6, 7 breeders. I mean, 4, 5, 6, 7 dogs because they're breeders. And you and another person, her name is Loan. That's her name. Like the word loan, mortgage loan. We just talked about it. That's what we used to do. Her name is Loan. I did an interview with her about 2 months ago, and she was a first-time Dobe owner. She actually She didn't rescue, but she adopted a Doberman from another person. And I always want to know, like what interests you guys to get a Doberman, but then also how do people treat you guys when you walking down the street or you doing your silhouette photo of you coming out of your garage and all that
It's
stuff.
different.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to get into. So tell the listeners. I know your family knows and your friend knows. Tell us where you're from and where you're located now.
So I'm originally from California. I moved to Houston in 2014. I actually lived in Houston as a child. My mother moved here in the 70s and my dad stayed in the Bay, and I've always been back and forth.
Yeah, area.
Yeah, I'm from the Yay.
And what brought you to Texas, Houston, though?
Just the economy. The economy in the Bay Area was getting a little out of hand, and
It's out of hand.
yes, it's totally out of hand now.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I just wanted to be able to live. I wanted to be able to earn and live and enjoy it. And I wasn't able to do that out there. So I came out here and it was a welcome change.
You know what? Me coming from the South, I know the. Okay, I'll put it like this. Now I lived in the Bay too. I lived in East Bay, San Leandro,
Okay.
and I moved out of the Bay in 2000 and moved to Southern California. And you said it, you hit it on the head. You said you want to be able to afford to live. In the Bay Area, you only afford to live just to pay the necessary bills. But
Right.
in southern regions like Texas or Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, you can live to have a life, right? So I give you an
Hmm.
example. And I don't know what part of the Bay you lived in, but let's say you lived in the East Bay, you lived in East Oakland. Your parents didn't have much. You grew up, you didn't have much. To change from lower class to middle class, your housing would go from 300,000 to 800,000 for a house in a decent neighborhood. We ain't talking
Right.
about in Oakland Hills, Hayward Hills, right? That's a huge jump in salary and wages, right? Which is far-fetched. If you're going to make it from 30 to 50, that ain't changing the game, right? But in the South and Texas, you can change your family dynamics from lower class to middle class like that.
Just
You
like
can,
that. You
just like
can.
that.
Yeah.
Because the cost of housing, the cost to buy a house, the cost to buy a condo is not that far off. And because real estate doesn't go from a house, like I bought a house in Texas, it's 11 years now. I bought it for 330. It's probably worth maybe 550 now. That same house here in LA, if I had bought it 11 years ago at 330, it's worth almost a meal.
Right.
And it ain't, and we're not talking about Baldwin Hills or Ladera Heights, Oakland Hills, Hayward Hills, or I'm sorry, Walnut Creek. We're not talking about that.
No, you're not talking about Walnut Creek at all.
Exactly. So you know what I'm talking about. So
Hmm.
the cost of living, but it's still relative because you don't have property tax. I mean, you don't have state income tax, but you got hellified property tax,
Yeah,
right?
you do.
You got hellified property tax. So that's a little bit of background, people, why some people are from the West Coast are moving down south because they want to be able to, number one, buy a home, live in a better neighborhood,
Hmm.
live like a
Go
lot of
on
people,
vacation,
yes.
go out to eat when you want, pay for amenities, not
You know
just
what's
pay for your bills.
what's crazy is that a lot of my generation, we're part of the same generation, believe it or not, right? I'm
Right.
1971,
Yeah, you're a little
and
younger than me.
yeah, I'm a baby, and our generation here, a lot of them are still living in apartments, and they didn't grow up in apartments. They grew up in homes,
Right.
but they're
Right.
living in apartments. I'm like, how do you get comfortable with that? Your rent
If
gonna
you don't
go
have a
up.
choice in the Bay, you don't have a choice.
Correct.
It's just a way of life.
Yeah, it's normal for them.
It is normal, and you get used to that mentality. And I needed a change.
Yeah, yeah.
I needed a change.
So let's get into it. I was scrolling as I usually do because I'm always trying to like find. Listen, it's no secret that most of us social media guys, when they're trying to monetize or
Hmm.
sell something, whether it's an intangible or tangible, we copycat somebody else. Now, I always said, and I will say it again right now, it is it's okay to copycat. It really is, as long as you're copying the right cat. You copying the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I was looking and I saw, wow, a sister with a Doberman. And she's manhandling this motherfucker too. I was like, okay. And so my question is, you are a first-time Doberman owner as a grown person. And can you tell us, how did you acquire this dog? And what's his name? Is his name Thor or
It's
Iron Man? What is
Zeus.
it? Who?
It's Zeus.
Zeus. Okay.
Zeus.
I never heard of a dog named Zeus before. That's not
Come
common, right?
on. Come
Exactly.
on.
My boy Flex Wheeler has a dog that's named Zeus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, how did you acquire Zeus? What year was it? And how did it happen?
Uh, let's see. Zeus will be 2 years old next week on the 11th. So he was a birthday gift from my
Mm,
youngest son. Uh, a surprise birthday gift.
wow.
I was not at all prepared for him mentally. I
Like
was
basically,
not.
hey, let me give you this breathing creature. Your
Yeah.
responsibilities, where you can go on
A-
vacation when you want to. Want to, it
And
stops. Here you
we
go.
had a small discussion. He said, Mom, if you wanted a dog, what kind of dog would you want? Oh, I'd want a Doberman. Oh, you
Mm,
want a Doberman? No, I got some things to take care of. I know it's going to be an expense. I'm going to wait before I purchase a Doberman. And his interpretation was, okay, we'll get it for her.
oh,
So,
give
and
me no
so here's
dates
this
or nothing,
living.
did he?
Not at all. Not at all. Just here you go, mom. Happy birthday. And it was a wonderful gift. Best gift I ever received.
Mm. So
It,
how
it
did it
keeps
happen?
getting. He was in Missouri, stationed in Missouri at the time. He went on AKC and found something that was affordable, that was a purebred, uh, and he bought them.
Is that him barking now?
That is, he knows I'm
You
talking
know we're
about him.
talking about him. Oh
Yeah,
boy. Oh
he
boy.
knows we talking about him. But yeah, he drove I think he bought him at 8 weeks and he drove him down to me at 11 weeks.
Now, let me ask you this. So the picking process, of course, you wasn't a part of it.
Right.
And you've heard of our previous podcast that we did recently about limited versus full AKC, right? You've heard about
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it. And this is the beauty, people, behind, and I'm talking to the audience out there. This is what this show is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be informative, educational, but also entertaining at the same time. And every podcast I do, whether it's a mini series of Rise and Guard or this one right here, um, Dog Talking After Dark with the Dog Father, we supposed to take something away from it. Remember when we were growing up back in the day, we would watch Fat Albert or Good Times or the Jeffersons or any cartoon. There was
Mm-hmm.
always something to learn about it at the end. Remember that?
Right. Right.
It was not about destruction and killing and pillaging. It had a
It
message
was
at the end.
it was a moral message.
Yes. Even the Cosby Show was like, a lot of us, like I didn't come from a two-parent home, but there was a message that I was able to learn from it. And it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
disheartening that nothing we watch now, hardly anything, other than Avatar, the movie, we're learning from it, right? It's a message
Right.
at the end, right? That's why I love that movie Gladiator. It's love, deceit, death, honor, retribution, revenge, and happiness at the end, right? So I get back to the dog situation. I'll come full circle is that you learned something from our channel. Then you went back, then you had your son. Tell us about that, because when you got the dog, what did it come with and what it did not come with? Can you please talk to us about it?
So the man that advertised him basically said, "Hey, this is my last litter. I'm going out of business. I'm retiring. I've had this, multi-decade career breeding dogs, and because of that, these are puppies only. These are house puppies only. You can't breed these dogs. Don't ask for papers. I'm not selling papers, so on and so forth." Uh, and so my son bought the dog, and we tried to go back and get papers down the road, and he was unwilling to sell them. Now, and I've had him tested. I've had him tested, and he's 100% European Doberman, and that's fine and great, but there's no documentation.
Yeah. I am on a personal crusade. Well, I've been in this breed 17 years, right?
Okay.
And I've been on a personal crusade to not only let the Doberman be relevant again, but also know that there's a business side of it that some breeders, not all, don't want the layman know about. Number one is when you buy a pedigreed dog and you find this actual breeder on a website that only allows pedigreed dogs to be advertised in their sub website called AKC Marketplace, that means they have registrable puppies. Now, if he did say, when he did say the puppies, he could have easily said, okay, you got AKC papers, but they're limited. That means that, yes, you got full registration. Yes, you can be a part of AKC sponsored events, dock diving, luring, course racing, protection sports, obedience, CGCA, all those things. But when it comes to breeding, you can't register the litter. At least give me that, right?
Right.
And he didn't even do that. I would love to bring his ass on this show and ask, why is he selling animals without backup documentation? And it's baffling. So I've been on this mini crusade to say, hey, it's okay to sell limited papers, but give some papers.
Right. Give me something. So I can at least register him. So I can at least, like you say, compete.
Yes. And it's almost like when I got 3 kids, 2 are grown. I got an 11-year-old. And every time I've gotten a birth certificate, the little paw print is in the back or on the bottom of the birth certificate. I get something.
There's some proof.
Yeah, it's some proof.
Right.
Mama's baby, daddy maybe, but still I'm getting proof. Right?
We're not going to say that right now.
Right. What I'm saying is that I get something for it. Listen, this particular animal we're responsible for the rest of his life. Our lives is centered around the dog. The dog's life is not centered around ours. When we go on vacations, the first thing we're thinking about is what? We're going to take care of this dog.
Right.
I'm aboard the dog. When
cannot be just anywhere.
Right. When I get home later than usual, I'm like, man, I haven't fed the dog. I hope the dog's okay.
Hoping I got to get home. I got to leave, y'all, because I got to go see about my dog.
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, I know I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. My dogs are not perfect. I've made some mistakes. I will continue to make mistakes, but I'm going to learn from the ones I made. And one thing I know about in this Doberman community, and I'm trying to get you in there deeper, you just got to follow the steps.
I'm following.
Is that you have to be transparent. You have to let people know what they're, like when I used to date women, this is before you was even born. Trust me. I'm just kidding. But listen, back in my younger day, and this is not something to be proud of, I used to have maybe 1, 2 to 3 girlfriends. None of them, maybe one knew about the other 2, but all of them didn't know about each other, right? And the one thing I realized about women, all they really care is like, give them the option if they want to deal with that. But lying about it is what hurts the most, right?
It's not an option.
Right. Right. Give them the option if they want to be a weekend girlfriend. At least give me that option. But don't tell me I'm the only one and I'm not. Right. So what I'm saying is, in this dog community, if you got a dog that has one copy of DCM, which is dilated cardiomyopathy, or one copy of DM or a VWD carrier, at least give the buyers the option. This is what you get. I don't know if the puppy's going to have it. You got to get the puppies tested by VetGen. I was going to say VetGen, Embark. But here's what you got. Give me the option. Let me pick and choose. So now you get the dog. How did he bring him over? Was it on your birthday?
No, they didn't come. They came down maybe within 2 weeks of my birthday.
Right.
So it was soon after. But they told me about him on my birthday. So they FaceTimed me and said, this is what you're going to get. And yeah, that was nice. All my thoughts about I can't afford this right now and I have things to take care of went out the window when I saw that. When I saw that on FaceTime, I was like, oh, okay.
I bet your ass went to Petco or PetSmart, just buying up that overpriced cheap shit, didn't you?
Just running it up. Just running it up. Run it. When they came here 2 weeks later, everything was set up.
Yeah. So you got him. Was his ears cropped at that time?
No. We cropped his ears the day after they left. Like if they left Thursday or Friday morning, I went and had his ears cropped that day.
So he was 8 weeks. So how old was he at that point?
He was 11 weeks.
Oh, wow. That's on the edge. That's
right. 11 and a half, probably 11 and a half.
Yeah.
I
think when you can get them cropped at 3 months, but that's hella late. Get them taped. Stay on top of it. But so how did you find the ear cropper? Because that's even hard too, finding an actual vet that does. First of all, there's two different type of vets. It's hard to find. It's hard to find vets nowadays because how sensitive the world is to not only find a vet that does cropping, but also reproductive vets. They all want to neuter and spade your dog. Oh, you got to neuter him before he gets cancer in 10 years. That goofy ass stuff. So how did you find this vet?
My son, he found somebody because he was he got a little frantic. He was like, you have to crop his ears now. So before he left and drove back, he was like, go to this place right here. And when he left that day, I went there that evening. So
what's the price of ear cropping out there in Texas?
I don't remember what the base package was. I paid for the extras because, of course they come at you and say things like, well, you don't want them to feel the pain and you don't want them to feel this. And what if this happens? So check this box, check this box, check this box. I want to say it ran upwards to 400, maybe.
That's it?
But I was going to say, compared to the vets in my area, it was a steal. And I got the full package.
Look at you. So how was the first night you brought him home? Was he yelping? Because they're Velcro dogs.
So my son had him in his room. He was going from his room to my room. He was using the bathroom everywhere you sat him.
Right.
I think he ended up sleeping in my son's room that night.
Okay.
And then the very next night, I put him in his crate.
Wow.
I put him in his crate like the first. As a matter of fact, I put him in his crate that first night. We started crate training that first night. So that process went really smooth.
So tell me this: you get him first night you had him, it's cool, you enjoying him. The next day, when did you start the crate training? How did you crate train him?
I just put him in there. I didn't really have a lot of knowledge on how to do it. I put him in there and was like, "You gonna ride this out?"
Did he make? I know he made some boo boos up in the crate, didn't he?
He did. We went through about maybe 2 to 3 weeks of that, And then it tapered off tremendously, like where it was down to like once every 2 weeks. And then it shrunk from there. And he doesn't like to use the bathroom in his crate. So,
Yeah. There's a book. There's a book out there. It's a paperback book. I love paperback books because they can't be big, and it's like 30 pages, I think. It's called How to Housebreak a Dog in 7 Days. Look it
oh,
up, people,
wow.
on Amazon. It's called How to Housebreak a Dog in 7 Days. Now, you literally can't housebreak a dog in 7 days. Well, you probably can. But what it
Hmm.
does, it teaches you a regimen. It's like the dog stays in his crate most of the time, but he's out the crate only to either use the restroom, drink water, eat, and that's it. And then he comes back to the crate and he's crate trained. And you
Okay.
keep that up. And then that way he realizes when he goes out the crate, it's time to handle business.
Right.
Right. So um I my crate training, it went well. Of course, some of my dogs made accidents in them. Sometimes I think it was deliberate, but
Hmm. Hmm.
I make the crate seem like it's the home away from home. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't use the crate for punishment,
Right.
and I think that's the problem that people are using the crate for, is punish. Get your ass in there. No, 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 no.
Right.
It was almost like when I was a kid and my mom pissed me off or whatever, my grandmother pissed me off, or she whipped my ass or whatever the case. I go to my room and close my door. My room was my safe haven.
Hmm.
It was refuge for me. And so the crate is supposed to be their bedroom. Like, I don't want to hear none of that shit from you guys. I'm in my crate
Yeah. He
because
set up
nobody's trying
he
to go in
set
the
up
crate
pretty
with him.
nice over there.
Yeah.
He Now I will tell you this. He had a little story. The same day they left and I took him to get his ears trimmed, he got really sick.
Mm,
And I thought it was from the ear trimming. And
right.
so I'm going back and forth to these people. And at first they tried to say, "Oh, it's parvo," because he's so sick.
Really?
Because he kept throwing up. Um, and I was like, he doesn't have parvo, but we're treating it like parvo. So he's starting to lose weight. He's starting to stop eating. This is over the course of a week. He stops eating. So at one point he was skin and bones. Let's say they left him here March 24th. By
Mhm.
Easter, he looked like he had lost 12 pounds.
That's a lot of weight for a dog.
For a 12-week-old dog, that's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And I was to the last day that he went through this, I was to the point of crying. I They told me I was taking him back and forth to a vet. I was paying it for x-rays, and come to find out, he had been eating socks before he
Ooh.
got to me. He had been eating socks, and they were like, "Oh, you're going to have to do a surgery, and we're going to have to cut his intestine in multiple places, and the chances of him surviving that, because he doesn't have any weight on him and he won't eat anymore." He stopped eating. He wasn't drinking,
Yeah, he was
and
throwing everything up because he wasn't digesting it.
it wasn't digesting. And I came home on that last day when the ear vet told me, "Hey, you need to prepare, for the worst, because he's not even walking anymore. You're holding him." And I started YouTube University. I went on there and I found a vet up in Canada who said, if they're this age and this size, depending on what they swallowed, give them Vaseline.
What?
I gave him 2 tablespoons of Vaseline and put him in his crate. And I came back home around 3 hours later and it was out.
No shit.
And the same day he was trying to eat up everything he can get his hands on.
Wow.
He literally turned around overnight. He turned around overnight. He wasn't even barking. And the same night, he started making these little tiny barks. Um, so that was his story. And I think with that story, he was stuck in his crate because he really couldn't move.
Hmm.
So he didn't have a desire to leave that crate. If he left the crate, he would just lay on my lap. So by the time he got better to where he didn't want to be in the crate, he was used to it.
Wow. That is amazing because I lost a dog 3 years ago because you know how some of these kitchen tables, chairs, the dining room chairs, they have this plastic grommet at the bottom of their
Yeah.
of the legs to keep it from scratching the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my boy Romeo swallowed one. Nobody knew because it was off. We didn't know. And I was told like, yo, he's everything he eats, he throws up. I'm like, that don't make sense. A couple of days later, they said, hey, he's not eating. He's throwing up everything he eats.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, I took him to the vet. They did an X-ray, and it was clogged in his intestines.
Yep.
And we had surgery, and he didn't survive the surgery. He was going to be a nice boy too, because he was the last of Destiny Phoenix Highway to Hell son. Because Highway to Hell, he stopped breeding. It was an older French dog.
Okay.
So after you do that, after you crate train them, what made you start getting into like the obedience and then the protection? Because I'm gonna show some videos. You killing it. You know that, right?
I'm working hard at it. I'm working hard at it. I love doing it. I didn't think I would, but I really love doing it. And I like seeing him get hyped up. I really enjoyed it. So it's something we do constantly. But with the training, before he even brought me, he told me on my birthday I had this dog. And immediately I was like, okay, I don't want a dog tearing up my house. Um, I don't want to have issues with a dog using the restroom all over my house. I need and those type of dogs can tear holes in your walls and eat up your furniture and whatnot. I see horror stories online all the time. So I started looking into training and obedience before they even brought me the dog. And my intention was the following week to board and train him. And it just so happened he got sick.
Mm-hmm.
So I started training him at home and I was like, this is not
YouTube
working out.
University, right?
Yeah, I did, but it wasn't working out very well. And I ended up having a surgery. So I boarded him for around 5 weeks and he came back and it was board and train. And he came back and I was like, this didn't go that well. Because he
Hmm.
came back like, I'm back with you. I don't have to do anything now. So that's when I went on a mission of finding trainers that would train both of us at the same time. And it just so happened that every trainer I came across kept saying, you have a really good dog and he his eyes are clear and the stuff you guys say. Um whatever
We
they
lie.
yeah, yeah. You know what you guys say. And so everyone I brought him to for obedience wanted to also do bite work with him. And so that's how we got into it. And we was just doing it simultaneously every time.
You
So,
see your boy. You see your boy working right there.
I do. I
Is
do.
that you?
I
Is
do.
that you holding him?
That is me.
Look
That
at
is
you.
me. My
Tennis
nerves were
shoes on.
bad that day because he was intent on getting him a little skin.
Yeah, he's
He
doing
was,
civil work with him. That's pretty good that he stayed civil with the guy. That's
yeah,
really good. I'm
yeah.
impressed with that. Wow. So you started doing. How did you narrow down what trainer? Because typically most new dog owners, they are trying to find. You'll go through a couple of trainers to find the right trainer. You,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
first
Yeah.
one usually is not going to be the one you're sticking with. It's like, you know what? Now I'm seeing through the smoke.
Yeah.
He's not. He's not teaching me, and he's not engaging with the dog where I see progression here. But he wants to keep going and going and going. It's like you're not communicating me the process. How did you? What's the steps you went through to find a good trainer? And how many you
The
went through?
first Right. The first one that we went through, the guy that we boarded with, his feedback wasn't that good. He was like, I don't ever think he'll have prey drive. I can just
Wow.
tell. He'll never want to do bite work and it's just not in him. And I was like, oh, okay, and found another person. And after I went through that guy and I did a lot of research to find that guy. And he had a lot of good feedback, but my dog came back home after 5 weeks and wouldn't even sit. He wasn't doing the bare minimum. So
Which is crazy because me and LaRon talked about that just yesterday. Why dogs come back from the trainer worse than before.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. I felt like the little small things he was doing before he left. Okay, he's not doing that now.
Mm-hmm.
So I got back on Google, which was my only choice. I didn't know anybody at the time to lead me to this person or that person. So I was finding my way. And we found another good guy. We found another guy that ended up being real good. Retired Chicago police officer, K9 officer, retired after 30 years and out here in Houston, and that's all he does.
Mm-hmm.
And he immediately, like, I think we went 2 or 3 weekends doing obedience only, and then all of a sudden he said, "I want you to come to the bike class." And I was like, "I don't think we ready for that yet." you know because I
Right.
was seeing those dogs sometimes before class and after class, and these were big boy dogs, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think we're ready for that yet. We still little boys over here." And he was like, "No, I want you to come check it out." And so we came and checked it out, and it was amusing that first tryout, but he came
Mm-hmm.
back strong, and we went there for a while. It was really far though. We were all the way in Katy, which is a distance, and so eventually found somebody who was closer to me.
So how did you? So now you know the difference when people are testing the prey drive. What did he do to
Hmm.
test the prey drive? What was some of the tests he said? You know what, this dog has what it takes. Let's move forward. What was some of
Oh,
the things that he did?
this brother looked in his eyes. He gave him the eye test and said, "Hey, his eyes are clear." And he did a little bite pillow work with him. Like I said, that first time out, it didn't go that well, but he didn't run away. I forgot how he put it. He said, "Yeah, he seemed a little nervous." He said, but he stood his ground. I think that's how he put it. He said he'll get used to it. And sure enough, by the following week, you know, he had the small black pillow that we worked with, and it was immediately he loved it. He wanted that pillow. I bought my own for the house, and every time I bring it out, that got him. So I was like, "Oh, okay, I get what he's saying." And it was just simply that pillow.
Mm,
When we first, with the first trainer where we started out, um, this last trainer that we had, he focused a lot. We did bite work also, but he focused a lot on environmental stuff,
yeah.
because I didn't realize that he was a little skittish with environmental stuff until we started going around certain things. And so he brought him up out of that, working with the
What were some of
cans.
the things that he wasn't that he had issues with as far as environmentals?
Well, we were going to Home Depot, and uh, the lift would pass.
Hmm.
He wouldn't run away, but he'd move over. That's a large cart would pass. That would bug him out a little bit. And
Yeah.
I guess I wasn't even noticing it because I was taking him places like that, but I didn't notice it on the trainer's level. So he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna work on this." So it's fine now. We go places like that. He don't even look.
What to me, I think a Doberman doing bite work, I think it's exciting to watch. Let me tell you why.
Hmm.
You always see the Belgian Malinois, the Dutch Shepherds, the German Shepherds, pit bulls, band dogs. You see all that, right? But when a Dobe step
Right.
out there, like we said in California, like deer, right there, man, right there, people are watching, right?
Yeah.
People are
Yeah.
watching.
It's nice to see.
What do you when you walk him down the street, and I notice that you're walking him with a leash on and a collar. Unlike most
Hmm.
people I see using harnesses for dogs like this, which I don't
No,
get it. What are people reactions when they see you walk this dog?
I have people that get off the sidewalk.
Wow.
And I normally put them in a down. If I see you coming and I see you're nervous, I put him in a down and he stays. But they still, if we're on the sidewalk, they'll get in the grass.
Hmm.
Not everybody, but I'd say it's about a 50-50. Kids love them. It's usually adults that move out the way.
You know what's interesting is that when you put him in a down position, your dog is more obedient than the dog that they typically are walking.
Yep. Yep.
Have you
He
had
knows what
any
it means.
have you had any scary moments where he got out of the yard or he went through the door when you opened it without you and he listened to the commands that you gave him? Have you ever had any scary moments like, damn, where did he go? He just jumped, he just left. Or the leash dropped, anything like that?
It's been a 50-50. Um, we had a situation in the fields near where the elementary school is near my house, where we walk often, and I usually let him loose and let him run in that field, and he'll do his laps. He'll really stretch out. And one day he did about 3 good laps, and then all of a sudden he hooked a left, like, oh, I'm gonna go see what's out on this street. And I had the buzzer in my hand. I was buzzing it, but I wasn't using the red button. I was using the regular button. And because I'm panicking. I see
Yeah.
him, I'm too far from him to stop him. I couldn't have caught him anyway. And I just turned on that mama voice. I was like, hey, get down now. And when
Oh,
I
you ran
said that,
decibels on him, didn't you?
yep. When I said that, he slowed down and he made a little U-turn and he came back over to me kind of slow, like, oh, she tripping. She tripping now. Let me get back over here. But
Wow.
I had another situation where he didn't stop and he almost didn't make it. He got hit.
He got hit by a car?
Hmm. Got hit in gosh, I want to say October, and came out of it with a couple of scratches.
He got right back there like, okay, shake this off.
He No, no, no. He laid down. I didn't, I didn't know the extent of his injuries. I called an Uber to take us home because we were about a half a mile from the house. I couldn't carry him. He was too big for me to carry. And took him straight to the vet. They did x-rays, not a scratch.
Wow. Well, he had scratches. He didn't have no broken
Yeah,
bone.
he had scratches, but he had no broken bones. He had no internal injuries. He was starting to get a little stiff by the time we got to the vet because he took a hard hit on his hip. But he's been fine ever since. He's 110%. I'm like, this dude has been through so much and he's still here. I don't even understand sometimes. His testimony is strong.
Have
Um,
you have you ever had two has he been around other male dogs?
yes, he has. Yes, he
And
has.
how was the reaction between those two? Because usually two males are not going to really get along, especially when they don't know each other. And then two, the other person probably don't have their dog dialed in like you do.
Well, so during the holidays, my son was here. They had their pit here. Their pit is older. Luckily, their dog was dialed in because my dog decided that he was going to run the house the whole time he was here.
Mm-hmm.
He was handsy. Dobermans like to be handsy. He was every time I looked up, he was trying to chin check this dog. I'm having to check my dog.
Mm.
But their dog handled it really well. They we didn't have any fights. I'll put it to you like that. It was just dominance. It was just this is my house type of thing. But he handled it well. Now when he goes to the boarding place, there's four German shepherds there. And I think it's two girls and two boys. They don't have any problems with him.
Mm.
He melts right in, but I think he knows, I don't know. He knows what's up over there.
We
But
talked
other than
about
that, I don't have any problems with male dogs that I can see.
we talked about it, and what what do you think piques your interest about possibly not saying you're going to be, but possibly being a Doberman breeder?
I think that once I get into something, I'm all in. I'm just all in. I haven't been able to be a half Doberman mom. I'm a full Doberman mom. So I want to read the books. I want to research. I want to watch the YouTubes. Oh, there's training. I want to get the training. Yeah, if he would have his paperwork right, we'd be competing. We'd definitely be competing. But we've done the training to compete. Um, So I'm just all in. So that's just, to me, that's just the next step. If I have that much knowledge and I work from home and I'm 100% all day, in my times about this dog, and he knows it. He's
There's,
okay with being in his crate right now, but he's like, "Well, I'm not out with you," you know. Um, but yeah, it's just like the next step.
I think the next step, and we talked about this off air, is that you got to get a good female, and you know where
Right?
you're going to have to go and get one.
Yep.
We talked about price and difference from a dog with no papers, great dog, no papers,
Mm-hmm.
versus a dog with papers, potentially great dog. Puppies, everything is always up. Everything is always subjective because you never know how the puppy going to turn out. You can always hope for the best, right?
Right.
I mean, I can tell you at least 3, 4 pups that I got that I spent shit, man. If we're talking about euros or American dollars, I spent 6, 7 grand on importing pups, and they did not pan out because
Wow.
I'm looking for a specific character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And nothing's guaranteed. But at least when you're buying from a reputable breeder here in the United States, and I've referred you to a couple of them. One
Right.
in particular, a lot Gypsy, a lot of Bell Kennels, is that you're going to get what you actually pay for,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the key. Now the rest is going to be built around genetics and environmentals,
Right.
right? Um, I think you would be a great breeder, and I'm sure it won't be listen. Breeding it's always a full time, especially when you're having litters, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when they're grown, you're just a great pet owner. Yeah, when you have no puppies, you're a great pet owner. Um, but getting a small kennel built in the backyard would be great. Just maybe 3 or 4 runners,
Okay.
kennels and a runner. And I'm sure in Texas that could be easily built for a great price. 'Cause you're not in California,
Right.
and knowing the other thing is too about being a good breeder, you got to know bloodlines. You got to start realizing which lines are geared towards around more conformation and looks, and which
Mm-hmm.
lines are geared more towards the intangibles like temperament, energy level, prey drive.
Mm-hmm.
And what I try to do with what I contribute to the Doberman community is to have the best of both of them. I want him to look good, but I
Right.
want him to work just as well as he look,
Right.
you know. Um, with that being said, health test is important. Now, there's been a very big controversy of it was this one lady who was coming after a lot of people. She was coming after 3 or 4 of my friends, and she came after me. This is like 5 months ago, and
Oh.
she was like, yeah, in DCM, you're breeding DCM like Golden Pond, Catherine Hepburn. You know what I'm talking about. Like, the young generation don't know about Catherine Hepburn, do they? You
Yeah,
know
we
about
know.
Catherine
We know.
Hepburn, right?
Yeah, we know.
Right. And I'm like, wait a minute. My dogs have been tested. I've had the halter done.
Mm-hmm.
I said, DCM is spontaneous. It can pop up 10 years, 5 years, no years. And then I said, you know what? Why don't me and you go on podcasts and talk about it since you're coming up with all these genetic ideologies, but
Mm-hmm.
then you're promoting your own kennel. You're
Oh.
selling dogs the same breed, but you're telling me who's a stud guy that I shouldn't be breeding. Let's play with this.
Mm-hmm.
And she was going back. She's big time on TikTok. She's going back and forth, back and forth. And of course, the Doberman community is picking us up. It's like, yo, man, this woman's full of shit, man. And they sent me a video of her. And this is what she does. And I shit you guys not. Some of them who are listening right now saw this. I got a video sent to me. And this is how the Doberman community can rally with you. And if you fucked up, they'll rally against you, right?
Right.
She had a few puppies that she had to euthanize. Now, when you euthanize puppies, very young puppies, you should take them to the vet. Let the vet determine if they need to be euthanized or not, right? That's like
Hmm.
humans. Like, I'm gonna let my doctor tell me, should we pull the plug on my grandfather? I'm not gonna
Right.
pull the plug on
Right.
anything. I have a video still saved in my Google Drive, as long as they don't charge me annually them high ass numbers. She said, I euthanized two of my 2 week old puppies by drowning them. And she was, yeah. And they sent me the video of her saying this. So, you know what I did? I got this phone, post, and that shit went viral. And she started texting me. She said, take it down. I'm getting death threats. My husband is a ex-KGB, whatever. I don't give a shit about that. You coming for me? You came for my friends at she came for my friends at Rocky Mountain, Pepper, everybody.
Oh,
I said, you
wow.
know what? I'm not taking shit down until you take everything down that you said about people you never met. Delete, 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 delete. So, and then I took mine down eventually off her, right?
Oh, okay.
But then that goes to tell you that no matter what you do, how you do it, how good you do it, there's gonna be some haters out there. Just letting you know. You better get, because now there's haters out there for us even getting our Doberman's ears cropped, and that's the breed standard
Yes.
since
Yes.
1880.
Yes. Which is crazy. It's crazy. I
There are even
I see it
haters.
all. I see it all the time. I see it all
Listen,
the time, and
here's
I'm like, it's crazy.
here's the kicker. Those same haters that say, "Oh, you're mutilating the dog. You're getting the ears. He's in pain." But then the same people said I should get my dog neutered. Isn't that painful?
I,
That's still altering the dog, right?
right.
Let me get my hair right. How my wife Stephanie does when she want to scratch her head because she has a weed. She's like,
She's-
or or she take the pencil, the pen, right? So make it make sense.
yeah.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what interests you about the out of all the dogs, all the breeds out there? Because there's a list of breeds that I love. I love the Irish Setter, the Gordon Setter. Yeah, Google that, people. Gordon Setter, Afghan Hound. I like the miniature Schnauzer. I really do. The giant Schnauzers. But what interests you about the Doberman?
Um, I won't lie and say it's not the look of the dog. I think out of all dogs, none of them look as good as the Doberman.
Oh, right,
Um,
girl.
I just love the look of them. I love the fact that they're serious working dogs, that they could look that good, but turn on that fast. And I wanted to work in, uh-oh. Um,
That's okay.
the whole, okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. The whole, I think one of the main purposes that my son wanted me to have this dog was because he didn't want me to be here by myself and be unprotected. So it was like an extra layer of protection for me. And that made him feel good being in the military. That made him feel, like he was helping protect me. And it was, and it still is. Nothing comes past this house without this
Yeah.
dog letting me know. I don't care if they're walking in the street. If they walk past this house, he's gonna let me know. And it's not California, there's no screen door here because it's too hot for that. He senses somebody walking up the street in the middle of the street. So I'm I'm always aware of my surroundings now with this dog because he's aware. He's hyper aware. That's the other thing I love about the breed. Some people think they're skittish, and I'm like, no, he's not skittish. He's aware of what's going on 2 houses down the road.
Mhm.
He knows what's up before I know what's up. He's a serious alarm. Did I say that they look good?
I know, don't they?
And
You
they're
know what?
incredibly smart. They're incredibly smart. Um, you got to get used to the Velcro, but I'm used to it. That's just who he is. Uh, as long as he's close by me, he's content. I'd rather him than, and I always wanted a big dog. Now I grew up with big dogs. I did not want a little dog. I wasn't, that was number one. So he checked a lot of boxes for me.
You know, one of the most important, there's a list of things that should be on this intangible list.
Hmm.
If you're going to be a breeder, that you must have. You must have. And these things don't cost nothing at all. The first thing for me on my list is that you have to have the love for that particular breed.
Hmm.
If you love that breed, then later on you decide you want to be a breeder, you're going to continue to want to learn more about the breed because you love it so
Right.
much. It's not going to be considered work. I remember when I did my internship, I was a criminal justice major. This is when I was in college. You know, your last year of college, you have to do an internship. And usually the internship is probably a semester. Um, and so I did my internship at the city jail in Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
And uh, Commander Glenn Davis was the commander of the jail. And my internship was free. I didn't get paid shit.
You were a true intern.
Yeah, I didn't get paid shit. And I knew I had to do it, but I loved being in that environment because it kept me on the, it's called scared straight. It kept
Uh-huh.
me on the straight and narrow. And some of the best conversations I had were with people who were locked up. I mean, you know, just because you're locked up don't mean you're not a good person. That you made some mistakes,
Right.
you know. Um, but with that being said, it's like you are doing your internship right now.
Yeah, I
Think
am.
about that. You're doing your
Yeah.
internship right now.
Yeah.
You,
And
you
dealing
do,
with you is trial by fire.
that's right. That's right. Because see,
It's
here's the
trial
deal.
by fire. It ain't no hold on wait.
No, because here's the deal. I mean, you find out who you are being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I always say people who are comfortable, comfort is always the killer of any person's ambition. When you sit back like, I made it, I'm cool, that's when you slip and you fall and you get
Right.
set back.
Hmm.
I remember, and I'll tell you a little bit about Gypsy. So every time we've done a deal together, I said, hey, that's the female to get right there. That's the dog to get. I am 100% sure there's a little bit of discomfort because you're getting a grown dog. You don't know what the dog is used to. You're hoping the
Right.
dog is going to acclimate in your household.
Hmm.
And I am certain that there's a little bit of discomfort, but you find out who you are when you're under pressure as a person.
Hmm.
And now you know how to prevail under the same pressure. Pressure is pressure.
Right.
You know, I remember I had a one big situation where my boy, he actually passed away shortly after, but he wasn't standing up and he was just laying there. Just this my boy Brody. He was just laying there. He was laying in his pee. And I got up that morning and I had a major meeting for my job because I work for myself. And I'm talking about a meeting where I was going to make some almost life changing money. but my
Mhm.
dog is sitting right here, look like he's about to die. 6 in the morning. The meetings is an hour and a half or 2 hours later. I got to run to the vet and deal with that and cancel the meeting. So what I did, I called my helper. I have a helper named William, and he's been rocking with me for 10 years. I said, I need you to take him to the vet now. He actually works for a vet. He's
Okay.
a vet tech. So that's how I was able to, but see, I thought clearly. You see what I'm saying? I was thinking
Mhm.
under pressure versus like, okay, I take care of myself, fuck work, whatever.
Yeah,
But I
panic.
knew, yes. So now, whatever pressure you in, you can kind of think clearly now
Mhm.
because things, things like I do fire investigations, right? The big ones is my element because now things slow down. Okay, I need a structural engineer. I'm not a structural engineer. I need a electrician. Let me get a sub bid. I need to get a cause and origin. Let me get the other fire investigator to figure out what caused the fire. I need to get bids from different trades because we're talking about a complete burn down.
Okay.
So now I facilitate these professions to people that I'm not an expert in, but they're licensed in. And now once it comes in during that process, it gives me time to sit back. Okay, all right, what I need to do here. Okay, all right, I did that, I did that, I did that, I did that. So what I'm saying is that when you become a breeder, because you will become a breeder, you're gonna have to figure out who can you trust in the time of need. Case in point, if your girl is about to give birth, but she's not giving birth, what vet can you turn to at
Mhm.
6 in the morning to do an emergency C-section? Right? These things
Right.
going, these things have to be dealt with, right? So when you start, now is the time now to start interviewing people,
Mhm.
find out where you need to go, right? Who you need to have on your team. Because just like the dog trainers you've been through a couple of them, you're gonna go through a couple of vets when it
Okay.
comes to breeding, right? So um, what do you want people to know? Oh, this is a good question. Every time you've taken your boy to Home Depot or any place in the open, what majority of the people been saying to you when they see you walk? And I know with me, they say, I haven't seen a Doberman in 34 years. Oh God, they still
I
around?
get that. I get that everywhere we go. In my neighborhood, people pull over. I haven't seen one of those since I was a boy. My uncle had one of them in the 80s. And, I come across a lot of people with bad stories.
He bit me.
his the guy where he boards at, and I love these people, and I don't want to take my dog anywhere else. If they tell me they're out of town, then I can't go out of town. It's one of those situations. They're great. And it was after a couple of times we boarded there that he reminded me that he had a really bad story as a younger guy with a Doberman. And because of that, he's turned down everyone before me that has
So you
brought Dobermans to him to train. He said he's turned down multiple people. He said, "You're the first person that I've ever allowed, to bring one around." He said, "Because I had such a bad experience." That's the one thing I hear, especially with people anywhere close to my age that grew up in the 80s or anywhere around that time. They all come back and say, "Oh, a Doberman hopped a fence and bit me." And, or, I got bit by this Doberman, or I hear that all the time. So those people, after they meet my dog, I think almost all of them have turned around. I've gotten some people to pet him that had bad experiences, but he has a great temperament. He turns on, turns off, but he has a great temperament. But other people, when we go to Home Depot and stuff, you get people, they come down the aisle, they see us training on the aisle, they make a U-turn, they go right back off the aisle because he's not necessarily off leash, but I don't have him on leash. I might be
yeah.
leaving him in a sit and going doing a whole circle around an aisle and coming back, and that bugs people out. But he does well. He does well. And then you got people that, they love to see him. And can I take a picture of your dog? Can I say hi to your dog? It just depends.
I'm writing some notes down. What's interesting is that first, and we're going to answer this question. You see that question that Grayson put
I
up?
do. I do.
Can you read that and let us know?
What is the Velcro part?
So explain to our listeners what we mean by Velcro dogs.
Uh, Dobermans are notoriously known for being Velcro dogs, and I did not get it. And Velcro means they want to stick to you everywhere you go. If you go to the bathroom, he wants to go. You leave the door open so I could just lay here. If wherever you're at, he knows the borders of the kitchen, but he tests the borders of the kitchen. Because if you're in here, I want to be in here. You going in the garage? No, we going in the garage. He's really well trained on the upstairs and downstairs in my house until my son visits, because somehow whenever my son is home, he makes his way upstairs. But in between those times, in between those months, he knows, oh, she's going upstairs. I have to stay down here. But that's the only boundary. He doesn't get on the couch, but he's going to lay on the floor wherever my feet are, because he has to be right next to you. Velcro means they stick to you.
Speaking of you taking your dog in public, I commend you on that. But there's other people out there that take their dog in public and their dog is not as dialed in as yours.
Mm-hmm.
And they put this harness on, and on that harness, it has two words: service dog. And I did a mini series podcast about service dogs. And there's no real laws about service dogs. Every state is
Right.
different, but in California, which we would probably have the most strict laws, nobody can ask you what's your medical condition because that's part of the HIPAA Act. You can't
Yeah, it's a HIPAA.
ask
You
people.
can't do it.
You
Yeah,
can't
you
do that.
can't do that.
And so I say this is that when you get on an airplane and these people have these big ass dogs come on the airplane, they don't buy a second seat, and then you have to sit next to this dog, and the dog is not sitting
In the
vertical.
sit.
He's sitting
Right.
horizontal,
Mm-hmm.
right? How do you feel about people using the word service dog where their pets are not as obedient as yours? And here you are with the dog that can literally probably kill that dog. And they're acting up in public because they see your dog.
Right.
Your dog like, I played Hamlet at the Cambridge.
He's
Right.
not that good. He's good. He's good. But I'll tell you this, I know this up front. He's not service trained. I've seen some real service dogs. And you know the difference. You see a service dog and they really been trained, and they're not moving. They're not budging. They're in a crowded airport and that dog isn't even looking left or right. Okay, you got a real service dog. But then you see people that just want to bring their dogs on trips, and they got that slapped on them, and they got the paperwork signed off by somebody, and they're on the plane. And yeah, that you just making it bad for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think they recently did something in the past year where some of the airlines said, we don't care what you got on that dog. If they're over a certain pound, you have to buy a seat, or you can't do it. And that's because of all the people out there violating the rules. Your dog is really not a service dog.
True. That
So
is true.
yeah, it makes me feel some kind of way, because I want to be uh to that point. I want him to be service trained to the point where I can travel with him. But I'm not going to let him on a plane beforehand. I can get him signed off if I wanted to, but I'm not going to test those waters with him. I want him to be trained properly to do that. I want to know that he's going to be cool when we get on this plane. I'm,
You know what? I know that my boy would be okay on a plane, but him flying on the plane for the first time, I ain't trying it. I'm not trying it because here's the deal. Excuse me. You never want to put your dog in a position to fail. You never do. So I would, if he has to go with me somewhere, if I can't drive there, or
Mm-hmm.
if they don't, or if they won't let me fly him cargo with me, that means in the
Mm-hmm.
belly of the plane with other animals. Believe it or not, people, dogs fly cargo all the time. It's air pressurized. How you think I got the dog from Germany to here? It ain't by boat,
Right.
and that's a longer flight. Um, but at the same time, I mean, I think it's. I know this guy right now. His I'm not gonna say his name because I'd be giving him too much light. He's a good trainer, good dog trainer. Most
Mm-hmm.
dog trainers, their personal demo dog is what? A Malinois or a Dutch or
Mm-hmm.
mixed. And these dogs are trained to bite and release. They're trained in obedience.
Mm-hmm.
They don't sit and stay. They're trained to react. And that's why I say personal protection is really obedience training
Right.
because you teach the dog how to react and not react towards something,
Mm-hmm.
right? But when you get on a plane, people around you, and this guy gets on this plane with this Malinois, he'll fly from here to um to London. Man, that's a long fucking flight for a dog
Right.
on a plane for 9 hours. And either he's got great prostates because he's like less than 30 years of age, the guy. Me, I'm gonna get up 2, 3 times to go use the restroom, right? He must got a Gatorade bottle in his coat that's empty, whatever the case may be, for him, not the dog, to use.
Right.
And people are not trained. The average person not trained how to move around the dog. Like you may get some luggage out of the overhead while you 30,000 feet up and something drops. Is the
Right.
dog gonna
And the
respond?
dog reacts. Yeah.
Right. All it takes is one time.
Mm-hmm.
Or you step on the dog's paw. Because I'm almost 6'3". My knees, unless I'm flying first class or I always get the window emergency exit.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're gonna step on something. My big ass feet will step on something.
Mm-hmm.
How's the dog gonna respond?
Right.
Now I understand for people who are blind,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like this, you need your service dog, and of course those Labradors are trained to take everything. But the Belgian Malinois dog, come on, they got one. It's like a fire. It's like a fire truck. Fire truck when it hits the road, it goes one speed. Lights and sirens. It don't be
Yeah.
like, okay, there's a fire going. Let me turn the sirens off. Let me just get there when I get there. No, no, no. It go one speed.
Mm-hmm.
And the Belgian Malinois goes one
One
speed.
speed.
And all these trainers out here, I know they're gonna be chiming in and talking shit, but trust me, there's a reason why you got those dogs.
Yeah.
If that's the
They're
case, you would have got
reactive.
your
They're
golden
reactive
retriever.
dogs.
If that was the case, you get a golden retriever,
Mm-hmm.
or a Labrador. Get one of them Labradors called Old Yeller. Listen, I want to say thanks for giving me the opportunity to interview you about the. Oh yeah, I want to tell you one thing. If you're gonna be a breeder, look up this lady called 12 Titans Kennel.
12 Titans.
12 Titan
Okay.
Kennel. You remind me so much of her. She's a breeder of the Connie Corsos.
Connie
She's in
Corso.
Atlanta, but she's a great breeder. It
Okay.
doesn't matter what breed it is. It's just that look how she handles her business there. And 12 Titans Kennels. One of her
Okay.
biggest clients is Tatiana Ali. That's where
Oh,
Tatiana get
okay.
all her dogs from. 12 Titans Kennel. Look her up. I had her on the show before. She was on the show, 12 Titans. And I want you to just see how they move, how they operate. Just like I say, it's okay to copycat as long as you're copying the right cat. What do you want people to take away from being a first time Doberman owner? What do you want people to know?
That is, it's a dog like any other dog. I really want people to know you cannot get this dog and throw him in the backyard like we saw back in the day. This dog needs constant training. And training is not letting it run around the backyard. This dog needs constant stimulation. It's like you adopting a kid and deciding to just let them sit in the corner all day. You can't do that. It's the same with this dog. It it's not so much as attention, it's stimulation.
Right.
His brain is constantly working. We got puzzles and all kind of stuff, but nothing gets him better than a little bite work. Um, he needs to be, don't buy one of these dogs and think it's a pretty dog and I'm just going to make, Instagrams and reels all day with it. It requires some work. This is a working dog. It requires a lot of work. It's not a poodle.
That is true. But you know what? It keeps you active. It
Oh
keeps you
yeah. Oh
feeling like
yeah.
you're part of something. Like I'm doing something productive. Like this is good
Yeah.
for me as far as physically, but it's stimulating. It's good for him because now you guys are bonding, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I I recently had a surgery that took me out of our walking routine, but we walked every morning around 6:37 in the morning, every morning, almost 7 days. We walked 6 days a week because at least one day we were training. So on training day, I wouldn't walk him that morning. But that was just so he can get out and be nosy and see the neighborhood and work with people and deal with people coming up the sidewalk, and we got into a routine where we were walking kids to the elementary school. They wanted us to walk to school with them. So we were walking babies to school, and he loved it. Um, but yeah, that was my exercise in the morning, to get out and move around. He kept me active, like you say. Besides me training and working out. But it was our bonding time also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's him getting to know me and knowing, oh yeah, she tripping. Or okay, let me be still. Or okay, now I can get it. If I do this right, I might get a treat, you know. But we learning each other.
Yeah.
Because it's still a work in progress. It's
Mhm.
he'll be, like I said, he'll be two next week. It's still a work in progress. We're
But but
still getting to know each other.
but who's counting, huh? Who's counting, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Who's counting? He'll be two next week. Big boy. He
Hey,
crossing over into that age.
hey guys, if you guys want to follow Ro and follow the journey, what's your boy's name again? Zeus.
Zeus. Yeah.
Zeus, the Greek goddess. If you want to follow him and follow her on his journey of life, and she may be getting another pup at some point. Let's hope so. You can go to what Ro did. You can't mess that up. What Ro did on
No,
Instagram.
it's pretty easy. And his page is linked on my page. So you could
There
find
you
him
go.
on my page.
There
Yeah.
you go. Hey guys, I
Yeah.
always tell you guys at every podcast two things: stay resilient, but be responsible. Until next time, take care.